Hi, all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the sixth episode of 3G Career Talks by 3G Me Life, an initiative of 3G IRPS headquartered at IIT Madras Research Park. 3G is an education platform creating a community of 1 billion career coaches to address one size fits all education and transform the country by helping students to decode their inborn potential. It was launched in ISB Hyderabad and is designed as a result of 10 years of research by thousands of scholars. We endeavor to empower each student to align their passion with their profession by helping them to choose the right career. And today, we have such an industry expert who is the CEO and co founder of Career Helpmate. She is an entrepreneur and an educator. She has done her MSc in mathematics and holds a green belt from the Global Career Counseling Program. She is also a certified career counselor from the University of California, Los Angeles. Career Helpmate is a career counseling and study abroad guidance company which provides futuristic career guidance solutions to students and young working professionals. The company helps graduates in gaining career clarity by providing information about various career options available, empowering them to understand and analyze their strengths, and supporting them in finding the best career fit. It's my privilege inviting Ms. Anupama Biljani over to the dais to speak on the topic career development for graduates. Welcome to the show, ma'am. So all the
Thank you
participants,
so much, Anjali.
so all the participants, please give a virtual round of applause to our sweet Anupama Biljani, ma'am. So how are you, ma'am?
I'm good. Hope everybody here is doing great as well.
Yes, ma'am. So like now we know that the country is going through a hard phase like COVID and lockdown. So like in this current scenario, like no, with this curfew, lockdown and all. So what graduates can do to have an edge over others? That will be my first question.
Yeah, so that's a great question to start with. See, even in past also it was difficult to grab jobs, as we know that unemployment, especially in a country like India, is already on high. And now with this pandemic coming in, the job multiplied a lot many times. So we need to just look at it, understand it from a very simple perspective. Let's say that I am an engineering graduate, and is there lag in my voice?
Yes,
Am
ma'am.
I
A
audible?
slight lag is there. Like I think there is a network issue out there.
Okay, wait, I'm just putting off my video. So is this better? Is it better now?
Okay, ma'am. So could you please
Or
try
let me
speaking
just
again?
try switching the network.
Okay, ma'am. So meanwhile, hello everyone. How are you? All the participants out there. Are you all excited for the new sixth episode of 3G Career Talks? Just come out of the chat box, okay? And I can see Robert, and I
Yes,
can
is it
see.
better now? Now is better?
Yes, ma'am. Now the voice is better. Yeah.
Yeah, great. So I'll put my video off for some time and then I can come back on the video.
Sure, ma'am.
Yes. So as I was talking about that, if let's assume that I am an engineering graduate, so any position I'll be going out for, that will require engineering, BE or BTech as the minimum qualification, right? So, but there are so many people having that degree already. We cannot simply rely on academics.
Right.
We need to look at it from a holistic approach. So, the answer to your question is that what can I do to have an edge over the other things, over other people? How can I kill the competition? The answer to that question is build yourself holistically. Take the holistic approach. Now, what do I mean by take the holistic approach? I have to develop my personality 360-degree. I need to work on my soft skills. I need to gain practical experience. Now, that I can do by doing jobs, by taking up part time internships, or by working as a freelancer on project basis. Freelancers have gained a lot of hype and a lot of, scope in this pandemic, especially because the companies, they cannot afford full-time employees. So they are giving out project-based work to freelancers. So we can gain practical experiences through that. What else we can do is we can stay updated with what is happening in my industry. Now, what do I mean by staying updated in my industry is, see, the thing is that every day something is changing. Like we are in this COVID situation, so many changes have happened in the healthcare sector. But at the same time, in the technology area, in any aspect, we are seeing the agri-tech is growing up as an industry. We are seeing digital is growing up so much as an industry. So there are new things coming up every day in every industry. So what do I need to do is, whichever industry I have chosen, I need to stay updated with that. Now, here I would like to give you an example. Let's say I am a teacher, right? I am a teacher. I'm just speaking with you generally. You might be somebody who can grab me a job in future, or you might not be. We should look at everybody as an opportunity. And I am a teacher. We are having a general conversation, and you ask me about, ma'am, what are your thoughts on NEP, New Education Policy? And what if I go blank, right? What impression will I leave? And these similar things can very much come up in interviews and in short term conversations with people as well. These matter a lot. So, staying in tune with what is happening in my industry domain and gaining practical experience on that, also enhancing your skills in a systematic and specific manner. Now, what I mean by specific here is that um, as I said that I am from education domain, let's assume, but when I'm going out for looking for internships and freelancer projects, I'm taking up marketing work. Is that in alignment with my domain? No. So that won't help me really in future. So you need to have a systematic approach and you need to look at all round development. So that way, what will happen is when you are developing yourself holistically, your uniqueness will also come out. You will be having better understanding about your domain. It will reflect in your personality. You will be having practical experience, which will show you that where is the gap between theory and practical and where I need to improve. And that way, moving ahead, you can growing in the your entire graduation process. A student who is in graduation for 3 to 4 years, this is the process they can use to enhance and develop themselves.
And as you were stressing about the importance of freelancing, so what all things one should keep in mind while I'm enrolling myself as a freelancer, and if I'm doing my graduation now, can I do the freelancing job simultaneously? Will it help me in any ways in getting a full-time job in the future?
See, surely, what all things you need to look at it from the freelancer perspective. First, as I mentioned, that choose something which is relevant to your domain. Now, let's take again the example of an engineer. Let's say that you are an engineer enrolled in a computer science degree. Now, either you can take up tech projects relating to freelancing, or if you want a blend, let's say you have as a person good at writing, you can become a technical writer, right? Anything that converges with my degree or at least goes parallel with it. So you need to look at these things. Second thing is you need to look at how much time it will take, how much time it will consume. Will I be able to manage that with my current degree? And to what extent will I be able to align whatever I'm learning there? You should always have in mind that I should be able to apply maximum of what I'm learning. I'll give you a little example again here that 2 days back, CBSE, you all might be knowing that the 10th boards are cancelled. So CBSE in the new board pattern, exam pattern which they have to conduct, they have said that they will be having 20% of the competency based questions. So this is happening for the first time. NEP is, we are seeing that how things are moving towards practical. Even at the government level, these changes are coming. So when I say about competency based questions, what are they trying to say? They have mentioned there that we want the students to be able to apply the concepts in real life situations or at least in unknown situations. The best example of unknown or unpredicted situation is what we are going through, COVID, right? We went through one wave, but still the second wave was again very much unpredictable because the mutants were different, the variants were different. And at such times, the people who are competency based, the people who have a practical approach, they are the people who are able to handle these things. So the idea is you should be looking at where, what all you have to first shortlist the freelancing projects or whatever part-time opportunities you're getting. You have to shortlist them, aligning it with your domain, and then you need to look that which are the ones which will do justice to you as well as to the company, where you will be able to apply the knowledge the most and you will be able to get out of it the most. And in future you can say that also, that this is the work I did. So yeah, many people, I would like to add here, have this question about when it comes to freelancing or internship, that should I be looking at the pay or the stipend that I'm getting? So I would definitely recommend or advise students try going for paid internships. There is no harm with unpaid internships, because some unpaid internships, if they are for a social cause, like we have with NGOs and community service work, well and good. If you're doing it from a company job perspective, go for paid, but that should be enough. Don't look at what scale or how much I'm getting. If it is creating worth, you're getting paid, that means it's being worth. How much, then don't go in that depth, because right now my focus is not on earning, my focus is on learning. So that should be the approach, in my opinion.
Okay, ma'am. So as you were telling about the unpredictability, like many of the students know they will enroll for a particular domain, like they will be taking a particular stream, but after a certain point of time, they will realize that this is not my cup of tea.
Yeah, sure.
So, no, then what we can do, like when we are planning for such a career change or a stream change?
Right. So this happens with a lot of students, especially in our country. I have dealt many such counseling cases, because what happens is that because of some vague reasons, maybe because my parents want me to pursue this degree or my friends are pursuing this degree, so I just take up that degree, and now when I'm in first or second year, I'm suddenly realizing that I'm stuck, that I have, said yes to something that is 3 to 4 years of commitment. So students panic a lot when they kind of realize. I just want to tell them, the very first thing is don't panic. Second thing I've observed is that students don't even open up very quickly. They just keep it to themselves, because they still have this fear of what my peers or the society will think, that, oh my God, you're doing this thing, you enrolled for it, and now you're saying that I don't like it, I don't want to pursue it. So open up first to yourself, and that to then after that to some people close to you. And don't panic, there are always ways to work things around, to look at what the other things can be done. I wouldn't suggest dropping out as the option immediately, because okay, one fine day I woke up. What happens generally? I'll just quickly take you through the journey. A everyday basis, that frustration gets built up. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking it. And then one fine day, the student will wake up. Oh my God, ab mujhse nahi ho raha. Now I want to give up. That's it, and I'll drop out. Anyways, we have seen many examples, many people, big people, they have dropped out of college and they have become big also. Then my mind goes like that. That is what I would strictly suggest students to not go for. That is just an emotional outburst. Don't look at least your professional life from a emotional perspective. Always avoid doing that. Seek professional help. First, calm yourself down. So, in this case, in this situation, if a student comes to me, what I will suggest to the student is, okay, fine, you're not liking this. But instead of immediately jumping out of it, let's sit and explore what other options do we have. Now, you might have some idea that, ma'am, I am interested in digital marketing. Ma'am, I am good with the writing. I can become a content writer, a blog writer. I have several options. I would be like, fine, you have several options, great. So at least you have clarity where your interest might be. But again, you might get enrolled in that course or certification, and still you might end up facing that, you know what, I'm not able to go through this whole academic procedure, right? Because it also happens that at a lot of times we as people grow, so our interests also changes. So the best option is, first jot down the options which you have in mind. If needed, take assessments. You can take career assessments so that you are, double check. It's like a double check. I'm sure even through my interest and through career assessments, these are the options I'm looking at. Now, instead of completely leaving this option and going ahead with that, what I would suggest is take short term courses in that. Now, with the digitalization in education, we all know that there are several reliable and good certification online courses available, or short courses. We also have boot camps available for almost all the possible things. We have institutes like 3G also, who are providing degrees as well online. So this is a futuristic approach. So first go for something short term so that you will get an idea how this thing will look in the larger picture. For the 3 to 4 years, you will be better prepared. Or you can do, other thing you can do is take internships or freelancing projects. Now here, in this particular situation, you can take up internships which are diverging from your career domain. Remember earlier I said that don't pick up internships and freelancing projects which are divergent from your domain. Pick something which is convergent or at least parallel. Here you can, because here your intention is to have a career change. Here you can explore all the interest. You can take up some 1 month marketing, you can take up some 1 month content writing, and so on, some web designing things. Then you will gain a better understanding. And following these steps, if you are able to have a firm footing that, okay, if you can, come down to that one specific career path, that wow, ma'am, after going through all this process, I have finalized that digital marketing is my way out. So I have a better, confidence. Now you will also have a better confidence, and any professional will also have a better confidence in you, that okay, now if you know that this is your way ahead, then maybe you can consider doing that full time. Or I would still suggest that, see if this thing can be worked on side by side with your degree. The reason is that no matter how much I want to, or I like to speak from a global perspective, the country which we are sitting here, India, we are very much, as a country, we have a lot of respect for traditional degrees and a craze also. And that is also what our parents' concern are. So let's say if you want to go ahead for a government job, there are many things where in our setup, specifically in our country, traditional degrees still play a very, very important role. So I would still recommend to the student that, see if what you have come down to, if you can pursue this side by side, then try to manage both once you're through this. Because here now you don't have to give 100% focus. Your focus just has to be that, okay, I have to get through this, I have to sail through this. And now, because you are having the clarity that this is not my cup of tea and I have found where I'm good at, you will also be at a lot of peace, and this thing won't frustrate you that much. So my advice is always to have a balance between the traditional degree and a futuristic career, to anybody who is looking for even change or upskilling themselves.
Okay, ma'am. So as you were stressing about this, our focus on traditional degrees nowadays, like when the parents so much, either if it is a science stream, they will be telling that okay, either medicine or engineering, or if it is coming to this commerce sector, they will be telling okay, BCom or BBA. So when I went through your profile, it was telling that okay, you have done your masters in mathematics, but
Yeah.
then you ended up being a career counselor. So could you please tell about that? So I think it will be an inspiration for many, a living example sitting there.
Yeah, so I have myself gone through, and as you correctly said, I'm the perfect example for a career change. So when I was after my 12th, I had chosen science field in 12th, and for me the path was always very clear. I come from an educational family background. So I have grown up watching teachers, principals. So that was my aspiration always to become a teacher. So after 12th, for me the path was very clear that I'll do my graduation, then masters, and then go ahead with PhD and then become a university professor. So for me the path was straight, but as and how I went on that journey, I realized that actually the path is not that straight, not just for me, for anybody. It's not that straight. So in my graduation itself, I used to read, I still read a lot of books, and I tried different genres. And this is also one thing I can suggest to all the students. I know most of you read. If you don't, you can try that because you will learn a lot from that. So I used to try all the genres, and then I realized that, psychology is one genre which is getting my attention. And coming from a state board school, we never got exposed to psychology as a subject, right? Because there is in India still there are many states where you don't get exposure to all the subjects. So while reading, it was the first time I was coming across psychology as a subject, and I was like, wow, this is something which maybe interests me even more than mathematics, right? And even in psychology, the branch of counseling was what caught my focus. And it is also, if you will look at, very much related to teaching as a field, right? So then what happened after graduation? My parents were honestly not willing to just let me, go ahead with something. And at that time, career counseling was still not well known in our country. So again, this is the example of a futuristic career. And so they suggested that you, at least if not PhD, at least get done with your masters. So listening to them, I went ahead with my masters, and exactly how I suggest to my students, I started pursuing all the certifications and courses which you mentioned earlier along with my masters, and I finished both of them simultaneously. And after I finished both of these simultaneously, I entered into this space full time. I still teach mathematics, but as part time. It's not that I hate maths. I like it, but not something I want to take up full time. So I take guest lectures at colleges and doubt solving lectures, but I do this full time. So this is how my career journey has been till now.
Wonderful, ma'am. So as you were stressing out about the importance of trying different journals, how an internship will help us to do the same, and how important is taking an internship for the graduates or for any students out there. How important is for one to take internships? Yeah, that will be my next question.
See, if you will look around, and as we were discussing earlier, that how everything is moving towards giving an practical edge to the whole curriculum. Now, at the school level, at the government level, these changings are coming up now, but we cannot always wait for the government to change the curriculum or the colleges to bring in. See, the colleges do try, some colleges, not all again, not everybody is the same. They do try to, give students the exposure to clubs, some community services, and then some anything which is related to social networking and all of that. But that is again limited. Why internships are important? Again, the two importance we saw. If I am choosing the internship which is in alignment with my current domain, because I know that this is what I want to do in future, so I will get practical exposure. I will know how this thing will look in real life. And also, secondly, you will get the exposure, irrespective of your domain, you will get the exposure of working life, which is very different than study life. Many students are not able to, or you must have heard many stories where after graduation they went on to work, and in the first year itself, they are like, I'm not comfortable with the company, I'm changing it, or you know what, this working life is not suiting me and all. Why that happens is because we are not used to that kind of routine. It's not something similar to my academics, and then you realize that giving exams was way much easier than this here. It's a real everyday test, so you will get an idea of how the environment looks. You will gain understanding, as I said earlier, about what is the practical applications of what I'm learning, and how much is useful and how much is not useful. Thirdly, you will understand that where are the loopholes. What is it in the academics that is not being taught intentionally or unintentionally, not going into that, and what is it that I can, work. So you must have seen, again taking the example of engineering students, many engineering students along with side, after taking up internships, they take up special courses in the specific languages. They think that, in the semester it was not that taught in that depth, but I need to have a grasp, a good hold over it. So then you will be able to upskill yourself. And most importantly, internships you're doing, it will help you make good connections, networks. Networking is very important, and it will help you how to communicate with people, how to make professional networks, professional connections. You can go out on, some, right now that is not available, but now here you can attend virtual summits, some workshops and all, so you will learn about professional life. So yeah, that ways internships are really important. And students, summer internships, everybody should take up summer internships, and try taking up in every year if possible. It can be small, 1 or 2 months, 2 to 3 months, just to gain. And always look at it from the learning perspective, as I said earlier. Don't look at it from earning perspective, look at it from learning perspective. And literally, after you're done with the internship, sit with yourself and see what you learned and now what you need to work on yourself. Only then it will be useful. So
Could you please brief about summer internships? How it is different from other internships? Like, and why it is important?
yeah, so see, first of all, you many colleges by themselves, they provide summer internships opportunities to students, right? And so yeah, that is one big difference, that it will be something which the college can help you out. And apart from that, they are not much different. Some people have this in a part of their coursework also. So this is something which will differ from institute to institute, that how we are looking at it. And apart from that, if we are going out for internships all on my own, then you must be knowing that there are various platforms available out there. Like there is one of the well-known internshala platform. There are platforms like Upwork, where you can, register yourself for a freelancing work. So you can still, try going out for these internships even through your regular semester, where the college is not providing you any support. But if you think that I can manage both of these things, then you can go ahead with those also. So that is the idea. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. So we have heard about many skills. So,
Right.
like, no, many people will stress out that okay, we should have soft skills. So, what is soft skills and why it is important?
Soft skills is everything you learn outside the academics. Academics teaches you hard skills, right? Soft skills is all about personality skills, personality development, everything that is outside the books, if I can say. This, what we are doing, it's communication. My hand gestures, this is a non-verbal communication. This is a part of soft skills. So everything which is relating to the personality development, they are soft skills. And why they are important is because no matter how much good I am in theory, it is very important that I am able to convey that to you, right? For example, I am a person who is extremely well with my academics. I'm extremely well at writing. But what if I am not able to communicate that to you in an interview?
Right.
So, what is the use of all of that? Is there any use? No. So, that is where soft skills come into picture. This particular example was about communication and communication skills, verbal as well as non-verbal. If we look out there, the other soft skills which I believe are extremely important, we can say collaboration. It's very important nowadays to collaborate. As I earlier mentioned about networking, so networking, collaboration, team building, these are skills which you can build on your daily basis, and there is no theory involved here. And when I'm telling you to build your soft skills, to develop your soft skills, I am not suggesting that go and take up some course, go and take up some workshop about it. These are some things which we all actually do in our day-to-day life. So we can generally also build these skills. Just read about it a bit. What is soft skills? How to build collaborative skills, or how to build networking skills. Even if you attend a small little workshop of 1 hour, you will understand, you will know the techniques, and then you can apply, because these things are completely about practical application. And the other skills, there are a lot many soft skills, the other skills which are important, which we can see in today's day and age: time management, very essential, because with the work from home, study from home culture, people's whole schedule has gone up and down. People take up lot many things in hand, but are not able to reach out there, but are not able to do justice to everything. So, time management is another soft skill which is very important. Collaboration, as I mentioned earlier. And there are many other soft skills also which have importance, like creativity. As I was giving earlier the example that this pandemic situation, it was unpredicted. But the situation has come now. We cannot undo this. So, what we have to look for, we need people who are creative thinkers. We need people who have problem solving mindset. We need people who are critical thinkers. So, these are also soft skills. So, you can read about these and eventually practically build on these skills on daily basis, enhance, take up case studies, look at problems. There are a lot many case studies available. Look at everyday problem, conflict management. In when you go for a job, not everybody is going to agree with your point of view. How you have to very nicely put up your point of view as well, and listen to other person's point of view also. That is again a skill. So that's conflict management. There are leadership skills. So these are all soft skills, and they play a lot of importance in when you go for the GD round, when you go for the interview rounds, the people who are sitting in front of you, they judge these things about you because you have the degrees. They saw your academics. What they didn't see is you. And now how you portray yourself, and they can give you, and we all know these cases that in interviews some situations are given and we need to come up with a solution, because at the end of the day, everybody wants people who are solution oriented. Even if you were the person who owned a company, will you want a person who is just having good academics? No. You will also want someone who can bring in a new perspective, who can not only by themselves grow but take the whole team ahead, who can manage things, who can be creative. So, yeah, soft skills are of extreme importance, and they are very essential in having an edge over others, as we were talking earlier.
Okay, ma'am. So will taking any internships help in building these soft skills?
Internships, yeah, they will help you, maybe not. Now see, what happens is that at the current, if we are looking at the current scenario, most of the internships which you will be taking is virtual. So you can still work on your problem solving skills and communication skills, but the exposure will be a little less from the real life situation, because still we can skip a lot of things here in virtual setup. In real setup, the situations are way more different. But yeah, they will definitely help you to some extent.
So, ma'am, usually graduates after completing their graduation will be in a huge confusion whether I should go for a job or whether I should go for a higher education. So, yeah. So, what's your thought on that?
See, that is very specific question, and it is, there is no, firstly, in career decisions, no right, no wrong. It differs from student to student. Let's say, first of all, I need to have clarity about what my purpose is. So I, when anybody comes up with this question, I always say that there are two things. One is need, other is want. By want, what I'm trying to say is, what is my want in terms of my career achievement? So what is my purpose of career? Firstly, I need to be, and a long term purpose I'm talking about, not just, what I want to finish this degree, but the whole, a larger picture. That should be my purpose. I should be clear with that. That's the first thing. Second, in this specific question, the need part plays a very big role. When I'm saying need, I'm mostly talking about the financial aspect. Now, many students, what happens is, for the graduation, they take up education loan. So after graduation, many students have to pay back the loan by themselves, right? That is one situation. One situation can be that my family condition is such that it is kind of forcing me in a way to do, have an immediate job. There is requirement of me earning immediately. Or there is also kind of students who want to save money, earn and save for their higher education. They don't want to take it from their parents. They have the perspective that, ma'am, I want to work for some time, I want to earn, I will save that, and from that savings I will invest that in my higher education. So this completely depends on what your situation is at that time, what your situation is demanding for you to do. And there is no harm. It's not like that if you are not able to do a higher education today, you won't be able to do tomorrow. That's not the situation. You can definitely go for a job. Also, there are some people from beginning only, they are very clear that, the path that I'm going to be choosing, that is anyways going to be so practical that it won't require a higher education. Like, there are interior designers, there are people who are into the art field more. They are inclined more towards the art field. The people who are into marketing and all, they say, or maybe they have interest, a lot of interest in sales. So they are like, anyways, the masters is not in, I think I have gained academically whatever I could from graduation. So I don't feel that I need to go out for having a master's. So these kind of students, they don't need to go for higher education and they can directly go for jobs. So that is one reason, that if you are a person who does not like to study much, you can go for job. Or the need aspect, as I said, that if the situation is demanding you to do that, there is no harm. You can always gain practical experience and then come back to education.
Okay, ma'am. So many of the students after completing their graduation, they will be in a huge confusion whether I should do my masters here or abroad. So how can they choose like that? Okay, should I do in my country itself or should I go outside?
Right. So, firstly, to those students, I would suggest that start thinking about these things. The questions which you're mentioning, actually, like whether should I be going for a higher degree or a job, or if I'm going for a higher degree, whether it should be here or abroad. We should start thinking about these things a bit prior. Let's not wait for the last year to come, because there is already a lot that's going to happen in that final year. Let's just start having clarity about it from second year, at least from second year. So you will have enough time to explore. You will have enough time to gain clarity, explore about things. And now, when you have a lot of time in your mind, in your hand, you can literally sit down, speak to people, think about what are the options. Now, again, whether should I be doing masters here or going abroad, one of the reasons can be what is it that you are planning to do in your future. Do you want to, settle abroad? That is one of the very main reasons why students go abroad, that they have this intention of settling abroad. If you want, well and good, because there are preparation tests, as we all know, we need to go through the entire process. So I will also get time when I'll start thinking from like second year, I will get time to think and then prepare accordingly whenever I'm taking a study abroad case. So one is that you have to look at it from that aspect, that whether you want to settle abroad, then of course going abroad is a good option. Second, for many people, they have this vision that I want to have a degree from abroad, have the education of that, come back, make a change in my country. That is also a very good and useful perspective to have. So I really appreciate that perspective as well. So they want that we will come back, maybe we want to learn entrepreneur skills from there, and when we come back, then we will have our own businesses and we will be able to bring that kind of technology, bring that kind of experience here. So that is one idea why students would want to go abroad, and that is a valid reason. So yeah, these reasons I feel are good enough. Or maybe in India, still there are several fields which are not, there are several, not, I won't say fields, but specific niches not available to that great extent, which are available in depth, the degrees abroad, right? Even if let's say cyber security is there, data science is there, these are coming in right now here in India in the past few years. But when we look at it from abroad perspective, there are a lot many options, specific options. In detail, you can go for something like sports management, sports development. There is a lot to explore. So if you are something who has that specific, likings, or you want to study, there are very, very good music degrees abroad. So you have to understand all these things, reasons are valid. What is not valid is because my friend is planning to go abroad, or we need to, I want to be that first person from my family who will have a degree abroad. These reasons are not valid. As I said earlier, please don't be emotional in your professional life, because there are many things, you're making huge investments, and it's usually your parents who are making huge investments. So respect the money, respect everything, think through it, take again professional guidance, and then decide and go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. So how can we choose that niche area? You were talking about niche area, choosing the niche area. So there are multiple options out there.
Right.
Yeah.
That you will explore first when you will go through the academic journey. Second, when you will take up different kind of internships and small add-on courses. So you will realize that, okay, there are different aspects to this degree itself, which I didn't look at. And once you will get just a hint also about that, once you get that interest, you will start exploring it yourself. That okay, this is where, drill down to, this is where I want to go. Now recently one of my students, he went to Georgia Tech for construction management. So that is again something which is not very much appreciated here in India. He went for masters only, MTech for masters from Georgia Tech. Again, it's one of the top universities of US. So construction management. And I asked this question to him, the same question which you're asking to me, that how did you drill down to this specific degree, which is not very well known here? So this is what he suggested, that through my academic degree, first of all, when you go through academics, you realize that there are so many things in there. And then he said that I took up several, in my domain itself, several different kind of internships, right? There are different kind of job roles for every degree. So he took internships which was slightly as you said, that they were different niches but in the same domain. So this is an construction management is an extension of civil engineering. So so when you take up different kind of work, you read about it. And he also did some short term courses in that. And as and how he got more exposure, he took some proper certifications, like for 1 or 2 year also in that specific niche. And then he was finally sure that I want to take this up as a full-time degree. So
Mm.
yeah, that's how, when you will, the more you will expose yourself to different kinds of things which are available, you will get clarity about where I am good at.
So like many people, they are afraid of experimenting. They fear yeah, whether I will fail or whether it will work out. So how a career counselor can help graduates in deciding their niche area or choosing a right career?
See, whenever this question is asked, my answer is very simple. I told you most of the things, actually, mostly almost all the things which you can look at from, the perspective of career development for graduates. And at the same time, when I said these many things, you must have also realized that there is a lot which needs to be done. And as I mentioned earlier, that obviously you need to do all of this, but it is equally important to be specific
Mm.
and systematic. So that is where a professional help can be really good for you, because you can first of all get very overwhelmed. A graduate, a student, from their perspective, can get very overwhelmed that, oh my god, I have to do so much, how will I do so much? It's easier for you to come here and say all those things because you don't have to do that anyway, right? But that is not true. If we manage things properly, if we uh, you know researching skills, they are very important. Now all of this material, everything, I give complete freedom to my students. I told you everything. Go out, try doing things by yourself. Every information is available, information about different courses, different degrees, everything about skills. But researching skills are also very important. And also it is very important that what you get from that content, the conclusions which you will draw as a student and the conclusions which I will draw as a counselor will be very different. So they can, career counselors, any counselor, any kind of professional help, career guide, career coaches, they will be really good hand holding for you through this entire process. They will try to make it as smooth as possible. And the most, they will make sure that you can get the most out of everything and not get overwhelmed also. So
Mm.
yeah, that's how I think career guidance and counseling, it helps students that way. And I'm anyways very transparent with students, very open to them, that as I said, you can go and try it out on your own. If you There are students who can manage all these things by themselves, that is great, perfect. But if at any point you feel that you're, stumbling somewhere, you need, then there is no harm in taking professional.
Okay, ma'am. So, as you said, there are multivarious options abroad, like no, for continuing their higher studies. So, what all things you will keep in mind while selecting a particular country or particular course for guiding the students to select their niche area? Yeah, and country. Yeah, right country.
Right. So, as you know, that whenever I am, not every country will have the degrees to the extent where I am looking at.
Mm.
Means some countries are very good, like USA, it's very good with tech and everything related to science and technology. I'm not saying that they are bad with other things, but this is the most preferred destination for engineers when we look at it. Now, when I am looking at the degrees from, like, say, medical perspective, now MBBS abroad, right, many students are going ahead now. From the Indian students perspective, the countries are completely different, which you suggest to a student. There are, it's Philippines, it's Georgia. So firstly, we need to look at that, what course I'm taking, and from that course, which all countries they are having good quality and good curriculum of the course. The curriculum is also very important. Second aspect you can look at is the number of years. Now, talking from the undergrad point of view, in UK, most of the degrees are of 3 years. In US, they are mostly 4 years. So for some students, that can also be a gauging perspective, that I want to get done in 3 years. And accordingly, because their fees will also get affected, their overall financial aspect will also get affected. So for that also can be a deciding factor for some students, the number of years. Even when we look at the master's perspective, some countries, they have masters of 1 year, some have 2 years. So that can be one of the aspect. The weather can be an aspect. Like for some students, Canada, it is not the suitable aspect, not the suitable country. So there are many aspects, and also the financial affordability. Like if a student is, very good with his or her academics, and they can then get into public universities in countries like Germany, where the education becomes free of cost. So there are these many aspects, and many more things which we can look at. We also need to look at our scores, and a lot of things in the truly in the journey. But financial aspect and the surrounding locations and my course, these will always be the main pillars.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, so that was a brief explanation about studies abroad. So we have a question. Can we get a little more clarity on traditional careers and futuristic careers?
Okay, great. So traditional careers, as you mentioned by yourself about engineering, when we are talking about engineering, it is science, it's either engineering or it is medicine. When I'm talking about commerce, it's either going for a plain BCom, BBA, or a CA. That's it. It's limited to that. And arts is unfortunately not given that much importance. But in that also there are like psychology, you know, the other day we were talking about the importance of psychology and how that is gaining a lot of importance here in India, which is a fantastic thing. So that these all degrees are traditional degrees, which I consider. Now, about futuristic careers, for example, digital marketing, it was not there for some time back, but it is going to be there forever now.
Right.
When we talk about from a science perspective, agriculture degrees were there, but now agri-tech has come up. Agriculture with technology, that has come up, and this is going to be there. Fintech, it is a futuristic branch of finance. In engineering, if we look at, as I was telling you, the example of data science, these things didn't exist for long back, but now that they are here, they will be here. They will be here, they are here to stay. Still they have not got very much relevance in India. Still they have got, but not to an extent, not as equal importance as a traditional degree gets. Everybody is knowing that these are futuristic. Like let's take the example of 3G. 3G always talks about that how automation is going to come, and most of the jobs which are currently in the market, they are going to change. So this is a futuristic approach. They are not saying that that the jobs will be lesser. They are saying the nature of jobs will be different. So we need to look at things from that perspective, that there are some jobs, the robotics and the automations, they will be able to do it. So should I be scared about it? No. So what 3G's approach is, it's completely valid that now we should be looking at it like, okay, this is a problem. So what they are doing is they are solving a problem in a creative way. Let's just not sit and rant about that automation is going to take away our jobs. Whatever is going to take away the jobs, as many opportunities will also be there. What we need to do is we need to create a workforce which is ready for those opportunities. So that is futuristic careers.
Okay, ma'am. So, since you said about automation, so there will be many jobs where technology is not that much involved. So, how important is for one to actually explore themselves in technology field along with their career?
See, technology not dwelling ekdam deep in that, but having a shallow, awareness about that is very important, because we, no matter, as I said, whether it's finance, whether it's agriculture, even in medicine, we are seeing that robotics is taking its way slowly and gradually. So no matter from which aspect you're coming, which domain it is, technology will have its print there today or tomorrow. It is going to come, and the best way is to accept it, to gain basic understanding. And there are several courses out there which we can say, or you can also read about it. You can do some basic, practical things you can take up in that. But technology will be a part of anything it can touch, right? Any and everything, because technology will grow. In abroad, it is growing like at a super speed. In India, obviously, the changes will come a bit slowly, but they will come. It's inevitable. Like this field is inevitable, and it's best to have basics and basic understandings about this thing and know about it. Not go much deep. I'm not telling everybody to be a pro at the C, Python, and all that stuff. No, but just understand that okay, what algorithms are, and you know what basic technology like, and we have technology aspect in website building. All these things are very basic things like basic HTML. They are not rocket science, so just have the knowledge of it. But yeah, its awareness is very important, and also good that you asked about this question. There is one more aspect, not only to graduates and in general to all the students. I believe it's very important to have financial literacy, understanding about finance, because I have observed this in many science students. They have absolutely no clue about anything relating to tax, you know, their how the paycheck looks, what are all the terms of paycheck. They don't have. Me coming from science background, even I face this problem. But I had luckily a lot of friends from the commerce background, so they just, you know, used to explain me all these things. But in general, about investments, insurance, these things are very important. And any domain you belong to, you should always be having a good basic knowledge about finance. You should always have that hold.
Right.
Yeah.
So, ma'am, what is the right age for getting a counseling for a student?
Whenever the need arises, I think. If you want, some students come to me after 10th itself, they want the counseling. There are many students, because these are the milestones which we have. The curriculum is having after 10th you need to shift. Obviously after NEP it is going to change, the milestones will change, but as of now the current scenario, these are the milestones. NEP is there, sorry, the 10th is there, and then 12th is there, and for graduation. So some students have the clarity that okay, I want to go for this after 10th. So then there is no need to take counseling. There is always good to have a guidance. There is always good to have a small talk. So I suggest many times to a student that okay, if you don't want to go through the entire counseling procedure, the entire, you know, all the okay assessments, let's say, or all the sessions, then you can also you know, just have one session, because the students might get stuck only at one or two points. Then there is no need to go through the entire systematic process of taking an assessment and going through all the counseling sessions. So as a counselor, that actually becomes a counselor's responsibility to understand that whether the students need the help from the scratch, or they are getting stuck at one phase, one point. Because many students, they reach out to me in the mid of their 10th. Ma'am, we need assistance in making our study plan for the boards coming up, so we will be taking up 2 to 3 sessions with you. I know what I want in my future. Well and good. Some students, they come to counselors for getting also, you know, some clarity. Okay ma'am, these are the subjects I'm stuck at in 11th and 12th, and now I want to understand, I'm going to take up a course. Or some students come to me specifically for internship thing. Ma'am, I am planning, and now this is a good part that students are starting to take internships after 12th itself. This I have observed, and it is very good. So they are like, ma'am, but I want to have a structured plan. So they take internship sessions with me. So in a couple of sessions, we, you know, explore, okay, we will make their CVs, whatever they have, and then we will do the add-on courses, and then we will shortlist the internships. Where all can I put my you know, make my profile, which are all the platforms. Internshala is 12019. There are several platforms where we can, and how we can go about it systematically. So I think the best answer to your question is whenever the need arises, you can reach out to them. You might not need to go through the entire program, entire mentorship. You can also take up you know, personal and small 1 or 2 sessions also.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So there are many parents who are watching this particular session. So, like, what will be your one message for all the parents out there?
For parents, I would like to say that please understand that career counseling is important. And also many parents, when I was beginning, I had, got this feedback that this is a social thing. This should be for free. And as much as I respect that point of view, you also have to understand that this is becoming a profession for many people, right? And if you would be looking at it from a profession perspective, maybe this is something your perception maybe about this will change. Apart from that, I very much understand that the kind of background which our parents are coming from, they still, it will be a bit difficult for them to accept the drastic changes this generation is going through. So whether it is about in terms of degrees, or whether it is in the change in the kind of jobs, or this entire education sitting from the screen and getting it, so it is a bit difficult for parents to absorb this. But I want the parents to have faith in their kids, because these days kids are very smart. They just don't, they don't go behind anything, and that is a good thing. Many kids are using the technology and the resources for the right way. They are well researched. Many students who come reach out to me, they are well researched with everything, like the last detail. They have answered all the questions by themselves, and then they reach out to me to discuss about it. Ma'am, did I miss out something? So I want the parents to look at how much serious their kids are. And if they want to do something futuristic, like the most famous or cliched example is being a YouTuber. So many parents are not very appreciative with that also, but we are seeing that people are coming out and they have made careers from that as well. So if you cannot allow them to take that up full time, at least give them chance to experiment. At least allow them to do that in small bits in this. So yeah, and also parents can also seek the help of counselors and guides and coaches. So they can also discuss with them. I always say that I am the connecting part between parents and students, because many times it happens when parents come out to me. So I have separate sessions. Whenever parents are involved, I have one separate session with parents, one separate session with kids, and then a collaborative session, so that I can bring them on one point of view, and which is in the favor of both. So yeah, they just have to be a bit open minded. That's it, nothing else.
Okay, so that was a beautiful session. Participants, please share your feedback. Did you like the session? What was your key takeaway from this particular session? So before we are winding up, ma'am, what will be your message for all the students who are watching this particular session?
Just try to implement all that you could get from it, and do reach out to me if you have any other if you need any other suggestion. And yeah, work on yourself, work on upskilling, unlearn many things, relearn new things, just go ahead, grow. So yeah, and enjoy the process. It might look a lot, sound too much, but it's not too much. It's all about exploring yourself. See, everything we talked about, it's about exploring yourself, exploring where I'm good and enhancing my good. So it will be very amazing journey. So don't be overwhelmed. It will be nice, and just keep growing, grow with fly colors. The opportunities are endless out there. That is the best part. It's confusing a bit, but yeah, it's best. So we need to work a bit more. We need to narrow down, because there are so many options available. It's like, if I have only two tops, I know, okay, I have to wear this or this, but now we have 1,000+ careers. So it becomes a bit overwhelming, and there you can seek professional help if you find difficult. But don't take this in at all in a serious manner. Don't get serious about things, just enjoy. It's all about, and as I said, there is no right or wrong. And I also don't believe in failures, to be honest, because I think if there is no failure, there is no success. It is a part of success. And if you failed at something but you learned it, no, so you grew. So the end goal should be that I should grow. If I failed, I still grew, right? I learned, I grew. So the purpose is fulfilled. In fact, success, Virat Kohli once said that, success does not teach you anything. Whatever I am because of my failures. So yeah, that would be my end message.
Okay, so our participants are thanking. Sonia ma'am is telling that you have explained it in a beautiful way, and you're very expressive, ma'am. And Fazilat is thanking, she got various information. Personally, she came to know many things. So thank you so much. And one more person, I don't know his name. He's telling that it's a wonderful session. Robert is thanking you. Very good presentation and fruitful session. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was really insightful. I really love the way you said about experimenting various niche areas, and a very important topic, that is having financial literacy, which
Yeah.
many of the youngsters don't have nowadays. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for beautifully explaining. I think within a short span of time, you covered a lot. So thank you, Robert. Thank you, all the participants who are commenting out there. Thank you for sharing your feedbacks. And thank you so much for your time, and thank you for joining with us.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So thank you all the participants. So once again, we thank you everyone, and thank you, ma'am. So here we comes to the end of sixth episodes of 3G Career Talks, which is a project to raise awareness about everything career related, with sessions and industry experts from various domains. So if you would like to know about the updates about our upcoming sessions, and if you want to see the recordings of our previous session, you can definitely go and watch it in our YouTube channel 3G Me Live, as well as you can follow our Facebook page 3G Me Live for upcoming updates. Please share your feedback, as well as if you have any suggestions for any of the topics, any particular topic, you can always comment there, and we will be choosing out the topics from your from what we are sharing. So until we meet next time, this is MC Anjali signing off from 3G International Event Academy. Thank you all.
Thank you.